This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Drive out with a car!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things.
And the English Professor.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And welcome back to another edition of Can Crushers. Guys, I'm excited to be here. First and foremost, before I welcome the two that are right down the street and 3 hours down the road, happy Mother's Day to everybody who's listening. We know we have some women's fans, we have some mother fans, we have some Happy Mother's Day. How are you doing, Chad and John? How are you?
Happy Mother's Day. Well. Doing great. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there and all of the ladies who are influential in the lives of young people, adults, all the women that do wonderful things for all of us.
I was going to actually write that in a Facebook post later on, but I just didn't word it correctly. That, you know, there's been a ton of ladies that have done something for me in my life. Grandmothers, aunts, you know, your wife. I mean, everybody's influence, and they're all mothers. I'm just not tagging all of them. I'm sorry. So I don't know. You know, I don't want to have the normal mom post, because my normal mom post we saw last week, I'm crying. You know, this, that, and the other thing. I just want to say as a mass to the women out there that have touched my life, thank you. You've molded this big old bag of shit. So thank you.
Wow. It's beautiful, Mark.
I can see the tears coming out on that one.
Good, and I'm being good this week. I'm gonna try this John Padalano diet thing. I'm gonna give up a little bit of alcohol for a while. I'm gonna do some water.
Well, you saw my aunt sent me a care package, so I packed a couple of pounds back on. Holy moly! Yeah, I was down to 211. I'm at like 214 and a half now, just in the last few days. Beer and cookies, that'll do it.
Jealous. Those cookies are amazing. All right.
From my aunt's bakery in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Crystal's Bakery, Sayreville, New Jersey. Give them a little plug. They are amazing. The cakes are beyond cake, boss, you guys. Forget what you see on TV. The cakes at this bakery are unbelievable. The decorations, it's incredible.
All
right. We're a wrestling show.
Yeah, but you heard from us, Chad. What have you done this week? Have you killed a bear with your bare knuckles or anything yet this week?
No. I'm going to wait till it's legal to do that. You know, I'm going to do a UFC chokeout on the next one.
Oh, good.
Just watching, you know, the internet, older wrestling again. Kind of trying to keep track, see when the hell wrestling's going to open back up to the normal.
It's going to be
idea.
It's going to be a long time. It really is. I hate to say it that way, but it's going to be a hell of a long time. But we do have wrestling, and that's our show. Let's move on, and let's talk about right off the bat again, Dark Side of the Ring. We have fallen in love with these. Chad and I fell in love with them last year. The English Professor just catching on this year. This one this week.
Caught on. I can't believe you just said catched on. Holy shit.
It's been so long that I haven't been to school in a while.
Wow, I guess, yeah. All right, sorry. So, yes, I just caught on this year.
Yeah, you caught on this year. My God, it's going to be one of those days where you're a complete jackass. Nonetheless, Dark Side of the Ring, Herb Abrams in the UWF. Abrams. Who the hell is Abrams? Who wasn't there an announcer?
Abrams.
I know it's Abrams now, but I'm just saying there was a Herb Albert.
Are you thinking of Marv Albert?
Maybe. All right.
Like, didn't he do boxing? Yeah.
And some.
Are you thinking of that Albert, big hairy bastard that used to run Prince Albert?
Oh my God, no. He's Tenzai anyway. So, all right, let's talk about the UWF Dark Side of the Ring. It was unbelievable. It was 90s rock and roll. 90s rock and roll, drugs, cocaine, women, and that's exactly what Herb was doing. Go ahead, somebody.
Yeah, this was the very best episode of this show insofar as it living up to the title. Last week with Dr. D, there wasn't really anything dark about it. This was the dark side of the ring. Cocaine, hookers, parties. This guy was nuts, man. It's interesting to hear what the wrestlers thought as far as like creative control earlier on. Like, it gives you, it lets you know that WWF really had sort of a stranglehold on their characters. Even back then, we think that it's really micromanaged now, but apparently that was the case back then too, even though they seem to have a little more creative control. But UWF was somewhere where they could just kind of have creative control for themselves, and it was fun, I guess. I mean, I didn't really watch it, but looking back, it looked like the wrestlers enjoyed their time there, and then it got weird. Then the micromanaging started to come in when Abrams decided he wanted to be part of the show, and geez Louise, he's like bleeding and he's all busted up, and then out of nowhere he makes changes on the fly and thinks people are going to care about his yellow snakeskin boots that you can't even see that are covered up by his pants.
Those look awesome.
Bananas. They were pretty great, though. They were pretty great. But to say, like, wait till you see this, and they're thinking, oh, wow, I wonder who he brought in. And it's just a pair of boots.
Chad, what do you got?
Yeah, this was, this definitely showed a different side of the dark side of the ring, where we had, you know, the Benoit tragedy, you know, we've had the Von Erichs and everything like that, and that side of it. This really dove into the, you know, again, the drugs, the hookers, the, you know, stuff like that, being wanted a little bit, you know, more owing people money, just the nuts that this guy was. And this guy was, you know, I don't want to say he's the, you know, the Tony Khan of today, because that's a very far stretch, but he just had the money, whether he spent it or not on anything but drugs and hookers, but he had the money to do this, and he's just like, okay, I'm doing it.
He did. The one thing that stands out is when I don't remember who was coming for him. They're like, show me. Oh, it's a production crew. Show me that you have money. Show me that you have money. He shows them that he has money in one account, but he pays them with the other account. What a slime ball! What a slime ball!
I thought Paul Heyman was bad with, you know, his airplane ticket scandal and all the stuff that he pulled when he had ECW. Boy, this guy made him look like, you know, a saint.
Yeah.
I'm surprised this guy wasn't killed. I know there was a part in the show where, like, they held him over a balcony or something for their money. I don't remember who it was, but somebody wanted their money and they held him over a balcony. But this guy, I'm surprised someone didn't kill him.
Who knows yet? The way it ended, again, it was kind of funny, you know, with the drugs and everything. What, was he killed? Did he just take money and run? Is he somewhere?
He's dead. This isn't an Elvis situation. He faked his death, and yeah, there's Mark stirring the pot. It was interesting to hear from Brian Blair, because we talked to him on this show. It has to be one of the best interviews, one of the best guests we've ever had on our show. And we asked him about the UWF, like, hey, you and Jim Brunzell won the tag team championship. Was that sort of a consolation prize? Because Ric Flair said,
going to the WWF and winning that title after kind of getting screwed by new management in WCW was sort of a resurrection for him. Did you feel the same? And Blair was like, no, not at all. And I was like, oh, I'm thinking in my head, why? They had a lot of former WWF talent, Paul Orndorff, Bob Orton, it went on and on, Magnificent Morocco, Superfly Snuka. Now I kind of know why. It didn't mean much to him because the guy was unhinged. Herb Abrams was just unhinged.
You don't remember watching any of these? I remember watching a few of these. I don't know if they made it to ESPN at like 4 o'clock right after AWA was gone, or if they were just on a local channel. I remember watching a few of these back in the day, but to find it weekly, no way in hell.
Yeah, I do remember that. I don't remember watching it with any sort of consistency, but when they showed like Bob Orton coming out or they showed Paul Orndorff coming out, I kind of remember those guys on TV shortly after they were done in the WWF.
Yeah. I brought up, and let's see what Chad says, I think down the line, we should probably do one of these events they talked about, the Blackjack Brawl Rumble or whatever, or the first bash at the beach or whatever, beach brawl or whatever. Because I looked at some of the cards, and I could see why they only got 500 people there. It's rough. We would only decimate the event, probably, because they're on YouTube. They're findable. I just think we would rip them apart. So at one point when we're pissed off at the world, I think we need to do that to clear our souls.
It's funny because there's talent there, right? And
there's
someone
talent
on the show. There really is. Someone on the show said they didn't do a good job booking the talent that worked well together. And they showed some of that. Like Paul Orndorff went for a sunset flip and whoever's opponent was like never ducked or something. Or Cactus Jack whipped his opponent into the corner and expected him to come out so he can go for that bulldog that he does. And the guy never moved and Cactus Jack ran to his spot and there was nobody there. Just cringeworthy stuff, and you feel bad for everybody involved, but like on paper, it's all good talent. I just don't know what the hell happened.
Well, let me throw a question to Chad, and then you can answer it then too. Do you think it's because everybody had so much creative control, with my air quotes, that if everybody has creative control, who the hell's in control?
That's what I was going to say. I mean, the wrestlers can have creative control, but there has to be a direction to it. Where do they want the match to go? You know, they gotta understand, like John said about the Cactus Jack thing. He throws a guy into the corner, and it's like the guy pulled out a cigar and smoking a cigar. Cactus had to pull him out of the corner and bulldog him. The Paul Orndorff thing, he was actually, the guy went for a sunset flip on him and just kind of like stopped up on his back. And it's like, what the hell?
Our analogies are getting so much better on this show, by the way. You guys are learning from me. Thank you. If anything, you're learning how ridiculous I am. And you guys are taking them, too. All right, go ahead, John. What do you think?
Well, creative control is one thing. Like, I want to work with this guy, or this is the angle in which I want to be involved. And I get that, but mid-match, things happen. But I would imagine these guys discussed it either beforehand or in the moment.
It doesn't look like it.
I don't know. No, it doesn't look like it at all.
So this was a great one. I love this Dark Side of the Ring. This coming Tuesday is all about, there's only 2 more left. It's all about the Road Warriors, which I'm excited, but not as excited. You know, you two completely understand, if anybody else knows what that means, that, all right, great, it's going to be about the Road Warriors. It's all out there. Everything I know about the Road Warriors is out there. Is Chris Severn's going to show up and tell us a little bit more that we don't know? I don't know. But in 2 weeks is...
That's a local guy, by the way, listeners. That's a local guy.
In 2 weeks is Owen Hart. That's what I'm excited for. So, yeah, I don't know. Anything else you guys want to say on this one?
The Owen Hart one will be interesting. I mean, we kind of know the story, but there'll be some backstory there, I'm sure, about things that were going on between Bret Hart and Vince McMahon and Owen Hart's situation and how that just added fuel to the fire, really. The Road Warriors, yeah, I don't know. What's there really to tell that we don't know about these guys? But so far for me, the Herb Abrams was the best episode because it, like I said earlier, is the dark side of the ring. Drugs, sex, parties.
Yeah. You wait for the Road Warriors one till they show the first one of Animal where he was dressed up like a village people or whatever with the short jean shorts and cap and everything. Oh my Lord, that screams a whole new.
I did see that. Yeah, Chad's waving his arms like everybody sees him. But yeah, Brian Blair said it well. John, you text me this, and I have to let you end the Dark Side of the Ring with this. What Brian Blair said about Herb.
Oh,
yeah,
that was hilarious because it seems so serious. He goes, Herb Abrams left this world doing what he loved. Pause. Cocaine and hookers. And I lost it. I don't know if he was trolling, if he was dead serious, because you just don't know with Brian Blair. He's such a good-hearted guy. That was hilarious to me. That was the whole show in a nutshell.
Really was. It really was. All right, let's transition. First and foremost, let's tell everybody that this coming Tuesday is NWA Super Show. 6:05, you have to be there. It's a 2-hour show. This was going to be the show prior to the Crockett Cup in April that Chad and I were going to go to and hang out with some of the people that we know, but we can't anymore. But we're coming back. We're going to bring it back. The Super Show is going to be on. I don't know where they're going to take it, but this is going to be huge. You're going to see Camille's match again on it, but there's going to be so many other twists and turns. I'm excited to watch NWA again.
Hell yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. It was my favorite wrestling program before it stopped.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're coming back too. It's like the train wreck that is WWE is enough. AEW's holding steady, but I want the NWA back.
Yeah. Let's switch over to AEW. What another great card that they threw out there Wednesday night. And we'll go right down the line, and I want to talk about a couple people during this because we saw them elsewhere. But Joey Janela against Cody. Cody struggles with lower tier people. What the hell?
Yeah, he seems to wrestle to the level of the talent that he's against. If he's in the ring with somebody really good, he'll have a 5-star match. If he's in the ring with somebody like, Jelly Nutella, then the match is not going to be good.
I'm loving this discussion already because it's what AEW is. They treat it as competition, as sport. Mark, you've complained about what Chad just said. The Steelers play down to their competition. I don't get it. Why do they lose to the Jets and then beat the Patriots, right?
Right.
That's the idea. That's the idea, man. They are giving us the impression that this is competition, and I love it. Cody had a losing streak going. Now he's got a winning streak going. He still doesn't look dominant, but he's finding ways to beat the guys he needs to beat. This has been a good win streak for him. The match was fine. And again, AEW is letting us know that wins matter and that these are athletes that are fighting for positions, fighting for superiority, fighting for titles. Great opening to the show. I enjoyed this match and what it represented.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said it's a great story. It is this the way that he wrestles to a lower level. Yes. Next up was the Nyla promo, but we'll skip over that. Her opponent, Chad. Do you remember seeing her opponent somewhere?
I know it was at WrestleCade, but I can't remember on which card it was.
She actually wrestled on a couple cards. The big one that she wrestled was the Sunday card against Chris Statlander. And we're talking about Kenzie Page, 18 years old, making her way to AEW. She's wrestled prior to 18 elsewhere, but she's going to be somebody, guys. I want to stop and talk about her because I follow anybody and everybody. She has been killing it on social media. She hasn't had any matches up until this past week, but you can see the transformation of her, cutting some weight, getting some muscle. She has just been busting her ass on social media. So I want to say congratulations for getting her AEW debut. And side note, she'll be on again here either this week or the next couple weeks, as she's actually going to be part of the Dark as well.
She took a devastating clothesline. Nyla freaking decked her. She took a great beating too, which I'm not being funny. That's
important.
Art. It's important. You're absolutely right. Both ladies did a nice job.
Yeah, it was like John said. Good beating. They drove the point home of Nyla Rose being a beast and just going to start going through people. I think that's what they should have done with her in the first place when they brought her in. But they're going back to her, and they're doing it the right way.
And probably the best thing about the Brit's face at the end of this, she's already a meme. So Britt really didn't do much during AEW, but she's become a meme from her rolling her eyes and doing the stupid Mark look. So perfect.
More on her later.
All right. MJF, his return, promo about his return was great. Does anybody want to talk about? Chad clearly wants to talk about that. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just 24 years old, and he's got the wrestling industry. He's redefining. He's going old school. The promo, the heel. You just hate the guy, but you always want to see what he's doing next. Whether it's in a match or an interview, what is he doing? What is he doing next? And I'm sorry to go back a week or two to his, life-threatening hangnail injury, but how many people could pull that off?
Right.
And just be such a dick with it, and he did it so well. He makes The Miz look like an amateur.
Yeah, well said.
Yep, that's all I was going to say. Well said. Yep, he is maybe what The Miz could have been or once was, but certainly isn't now.
The next thing I want to bring up is Shawn Spears talking to Cody about ending his brother's career. This is Shawn Spears. This is what Shawn Spears needs to be. I like him better than the Perfect whatever, or the 10-man clan, or whatever the hell he was. This rendition of Shawn Spears is kind of being a dick, and I like Shawn Spears now.
I do too. I like any of the former WWE guys that they have. I really do. I know I say that every week, but I don't know if it's better writing, if they've been given a little more creative control, but they're just better on this show.
Yeah, they work better. It's less of the micromanaging that WWE has. They ruin people. They ruin them whether they come up from NXT or whether they come in from other federations. They're better in AEW. I don't know how else to say it. They just are better all around.
Next up, we have Frankie Kazarian against Moxley, and I'm like, man, how are they going to work Scorpio Sky into this? Because we've been getting Scorpio Sky promos. Is he going to run in and make the save because Moxley snaps on Kazarian? Is this the match that we're going to get at Double or Nothing? What the hell? Holy hell, that's not where I saw it going. And it leads to a Dark Order attack. This was a great match, And I love the swerve at the end. I love where they're going with this. Somebody.
Yeah, this was a great match. The story certainly was what happened after the match. I love Jon Moxley. I do. It's hard to dislike him. During the match, he's telling Kazarian, take your best shot. Kazarian chops him, bring it. Chops him again, bring it. Afterwards, they beat the shit out of this guy.
The Dark Order did. Make sure you say
the Dark Order
does.
Yeah, the Dark Order just beats the hell out of this guy. Brody Lee cuts this long promo. Went on a little too long. He wants to be champion. In a nutshell, he wants to be champion. And this is our message to you. And Moxley's still on the mat, and he goes, geez, all you got to do is ask. And it's funny stuff. Like, he just reminds me of a barroom bruiser. Fighting is just part of his life. And then they beat him up again after that. Great segment. Very, very good segment. And you know where it's going. There's no guessing involved.
No.
Yeah, the Dark Order thing, evidently,
you still hate them. You still hate them. I told you.
I don't like it because it looks like they're just picking people off the street and putting a mask on them.
Good. I hope they put one on you.
Well, I could probably do better than half of them.
Okay.
But who is the guy? He looks familiar. The one that did the Spine Buster.
He's 10. He's number 10.
Not the damn Dark Order's number.
That's his name. He's number 10. That's all that they called him was number 10. I knew you were going to ask that, so I put it down. And he has 10 marks on his pecs. So that's
that's great. That's like the question mark having 5 on his and calling himself 5. I'm saying that Spine Buster looks familiar. He was real crisp with that. I noticed that. It wasn't their typical, hitting at the guy and the guy's halfway across the ring thing that they do.
Number 10, could he be, we just discussed him.
Sean Spears? No.
See where I'm going with this?
No, this guy was a little smaller and a little thicker than Sean Spears. Yeah.
I'm just being stupid.
Brandy has words for Jake Roberts and Lance Archer, and then instantly we go into a match between QT and Lance. And Brandy gets dead. She's dead with new Damien wrapped around her, or whatever the snake's called.
Brandy is back in my book. This promo is why I love her. I've not enjoyed her rah-rah cheerleading bit. This promo.
Last week you were shitting on her pretty hard. Go ahead.
Wait, what? I missed that. I'm sorry.
I said last week you were shitting on her pretty hard. That she needs
to. Yeah. This promo is what makes her great. This promo on Jake Roberts was very Jake Roberts-esque. And here's what I mean by that. Whether Roberts was a heel or a babyface, he gave great promos that were true to his character. They were menacing. That's what Brandy did. She reminded me of the Brandy that went around cutting women's hair for no damn reason, which I love and miss. This was the same thing, When a performer is so good that you can predict where they're going or what they're going to say, that's pretty special. And I knew where she was going with this promo. I'm thinking, she's referencing Liz without saying Liz. This is great stuff because you know what Jake Roberts did to Elizabeth. This promo was the best thing on the show, and I will say she gives the best women's promo on any roster. She may be the best promo, period, man or woman, on any show right now. When she's on, her promos are awesome.
No.
Wow, you guys, he's saying like I'm smoking something?
Not the best promo. She's great.
I love it.
She's great, but not the best promo. Chad, what do you have to say about this Brandy situation?
Okay, it was a good promo. It was a change of pace from most of her stuff. But the best thing, when Britt jumped and laid her out and then threw her into the ring and Jake dry humped her and threw the snake on her, that was great. That's Jake Roberts. That's what he brings, that creepiness.
Dry humping.
And it was even worse because he's an old man. He had his mask halfway on. He brings back the snake. Oh, yeah, this was good. This was great.
Is this where you wanted to touch on Britt, John?
Well, yeah. I was just going to mention her. She has these layers to her character where she's a dentist and she's calm and kind of bitchy with the help. And then, you know, in the ring, she does some vicious things where she knocks people's teeth out. And as a fan, she's something different. She looks a little psychotic, like she's way into the matches and makes these googly eye faces at the camera. But when Brandy took her shoe and threw it, Britt's reaction was just like stunned. Like she couldn't believe it. But you could kind of see like something was boiling beneath the surface. It's all so good. She's like the crazed dentist who's gone off the deep end for some reason. Both ladies did great work. And I didn't see her jumping the railing. I thought that was the end of it. I thought when her shoe got thrown into the crowd, even though she was pissed off, I thought that was the end of it. I never saw her jumping the railing and doing what she did. And how appropriate that she uses the DDT on Brandy that sets up for the snake. Just a fucking brilliant segment. I loved it.
Wow.
I had to do it. I'm sorry.
You brought out the
good.
F, so you know it was good. Taz talks with Darby, which there wasn't much there. Let's just get to the Sex Gods. Sex Gods. This match within itself, whatever. They fought all over Jacksonville Stadium or Daly's Place or whatever. But the moments in this match of there's a scissor and they're like, oh my God, what are you doing off that scissor lift? Of course they're going to jump off of it. I liked the fans all videotaping this all over the arena. Like Britt had her phone up, Pineapple Pete has his up. Everybody's got their phone up recording this. Again, this has probably been one of my favorites. Not because the matches were so great, just because what they're putting into it. AEW cannot do any wrong. I'm sorry. That's where it is right now.
It was entertaining. Oh, my God. I was laughing. I sent you the new Sex Gods T-shirt that they have out.
I can't wait to get it.
You know, I know you're going to get it if you haven't ordered it already. This was entertaining. This is exactly what you expected from these guys. Except for Kenny Olivier being in the match, this was good.
I can't be mad at Santana and Ortiz and Jake Hager for interfering. It's an anything goes match. So you knew they were coming out. Brilliant stuff. Hardy got stuffed in a freezer. They chased down Sammy Guevara with a forklift or something.
It was a golf cart.
Golf cart, that's right. It was a golf cart. Pineapple Pete got involved and took a swipe at Jericho. Jericho put a cone on his head and acted like a witch for a minute. Just bananas. Absolutely bananas. I loved it. What else is there to say? Entertaining.
Did we notice the 3 costume changes from Matt Hardy during the match? John did not. He did not.
No, that was lost on me. No.
Yeah, he came out with like a spandex shirt on. Then he had something else. Then he ended up with the whole broken wardrobe on at the end. You know, his big regalia.
Yeah, you're right. I did notice that. Yeah. I noticed that at the end. Yeah.
So this was great. It sets up for a match between Jericho and Pineapple Pete next week on Dynamite. So that within itself is going to be great.
That's one other quick thing to mention here. They give you the matches for next week. Again, they treat it like, it's competition. It's a sport. Here are the contracts we have signed for matches. It's just such a throwback. It's old school without being old fashioned. That's what makes it enjoyable for me, instead of 100 superstars showing up on a show with no direction, talking for 20 minutes, and then saying, all right, you want to fight about it? The matches are signed for next week. And that's what I enjoy about this show. I want to throw something out to both of you guys, though. A lot of silliness on this card. Why are we willing to tolerate this silliness, not WWE's version of their silliness? What's different? And I'm honestly asking. I'm not playing devil's advocate. I can't put my finger on it. I love this. I'm not digging anything WWE's doing. Why is their silliness different? Who wants to go first?
Chad, go ahead.
For me, John, I think we're mind readers here, because I was thinking the same thing. Normally we would bitch about this, but AEW doesn't do 5 hours of it every week after week, with the same stuff. And it's AEW has the wrestling, and you can tolerate this a little bit, and it's funny, it's refreshing and everything. They don't do it as much as WWE does. That's WWE's main programming, is stupid stuff.
My thought is, because let's stick with the match rate that we're talking about, the Sex Gods against Hardy and Omega. It's built as a no-falls, street fight, do whatever match, all right? We go in expecting that shit's going to come awry with AEW anymore. We know it's going to happen. Excuse me. But on Raw or SmackDown, the Street Profits are going to jump off of Mount Rushmore through 17 tables while they're smoking a doobie, and the guy gets up instantly. At least Hardy sold that, he hurt his back through the table. Maybe because I'm not going to say anything against the talent, but maybe because they sell it a little bit more. There's less no selling on one than there is on the other. I just think it's built more into the storyline. That's where I was getting. It's built into the storyline of what's going on. Next week, will we see Jericho go through a table or run a forklift over anything? No, he's just going to beat the living shit out of Pineapple Pete, or Sudge D, as Ethan used to call him, whatever his name is. It's just going to be that way. He's going to get back to what he knows. It's not like that on the other ones, where this is what we're going to get. Long answer short, Chad's right. That's all we see on Raw and SmackDown. We need a break. We need to see Wardlow just decimate, Alan Angels or whoever the hell it's going to be, and then refresh us. It's storylines.
All right, great answer. I'm reminded of what Jim Cornette said. If you're sitting in a restaurant and someone walks in and trips and runs into a waiter and knocks a tray down, you laugh at that person. If someone walks into the restaurant, looks both ways, makes sure everybody's watching, and then purposely runs into a waiter and knocks a tray down, you don't laugh at that. So, well said, guys. Wow. I don't know what the hell my analogy was, but just throwing some Jim Cornette wisdom out there.
Nice. All right. Well, let's throw a lot of Jim Cornette wisdom out there, because right after this break, we are going to talk about Smoky Mountain Wrestling, Night of Legends. Chad sent it in, I don't know, Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. We put it up so you guys could watch it on the old YouTubes. We put it on our Facebook. So we'll come back and talk about that. But before we do that, we have to hear from Al Snow and Collar and Elbow, and we're going to keep it quick. Promo code Can Crushers, capital C and Can, capital C and Crushers. You get 10% off. I actually have my Bailey hoodie on today. Everything is in the wash. So, guys, Collar and Elbow, you guys get 3 words to say about them. Go.
Very comfy shirts.
Best quality out there.
Yeah, how about that? Collar and Elbow. Here's Al.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. two entities working together to create a product that connects emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Tune in for a tune-up. You're listening to Can Crushers with Amber Nova.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. It's time for us to talk about an old school card. It is Smoky Mountain Night of Legends, and this is the first time I actually didn't write down the date or where it's at. So you guys fill me in. Where do you remember? It's in Knoxville.
Yep, August 5th, 1994, Knoxville, Tennessee.
Only one of us were out of high school at this time. One. Chad. Yeah. Who would that be, Chad? And there's the middle finger. All right. My God. As you guys are talking about the first match, I'm going to run and get a Ricola or something because my throat is just hit the hell. Guys, I didn't tell you. I didn't drink this weekend. Before we get into that, I didn't drink this weekend, but my family, we were talking about this off air. We bought a karaoke machine. So now we have a party house that we're going to have karaoke's. I think I'm going to charge $2 per cover to come into the house for karaoke. Do you think that's all right, guys?
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. You got to get some of the IWC wrestlers and stuff like that. Maybe we could even get Al Snow singing it.
Well,
what a show this would be.
I also bought it for that reason as well, because hopefully in October, after Unbreakable, when we have our after party, this will make it down, and this would be amazing, wouldn't it? Wouldn't you like to see Ray Lynn singing Lizzo, Truth Hurts, or Jack Pollock singing Back to Black or something like that? I got it all. Woo, we got it. All right.
That would be a fun party.
All right, first matchup is Killer Kyle against Doug Furnace, and go ahead, then I'll add my thoughts after I get some water.
Go ahead, John.
Doug Furnace, I knew him from his, I guess, sort of association with the Hart Foundation in '97. He teamed up with Phil LaFon in the WWF. Super strong guy. At least that was the gimmick, but wrestlers have said, like, the guy's strength was truly unbelievable. Killer Kyle, I had never heard of him. I looked him up. The guy had quite a career. I didn't get exactly what he was going for. He was in camouflage pants. Very good wrestler. Very good match. Furnace having worked a headlock for a while, and Killer Kyle did a really nice suplex out of it. There was a nice top rope slingshot. It was a pretty good match. I felt like the referee looked like an action figure from a different series. Like, you have the Jax Classic, but you use the original Jax referee. He doesn't quite fit. He's not a midget. He looks different. He's a different scale from the other humans in this match.
Before we go on, that referee, John, we have seen numerous amount of times at wrestling events going around anywhere in Pennsylvania. It's Martin Curtis. He's from Pittsburgh. He was trained by Dominic DiNucci. He also got some training from Tommy Young. He's made it to Steel City. He was on some of the same cards that we saw Beef Stew Lou on. He also made it into the WCW right at the tail end of it. So I knew him right off the bat. At first I thought, oh my God, is this a young Harvey Wimpleman? But it's not. I looked into him. It was Mark Curtis. I know all of us at some point around this area has seen him referee, and I got more on him later. Go ahead.
Yeah, obviously, we went to a handful of SCWs back in the day, so we definitely, if that's who he is, then we definitely saw him.
It's who he is.
Yeah, okay. So he's like the WCW referee with the WWE figures is what I guess I'm trying to say. Doesn't quite fit. Cool finish, a Hurricane Rana, but around the waist, not around the head. Furnace with like a Hurricane Rana around the waist, flipped him over into a pin. Fine match. I enjoyed it. Good opener.
Yeah, this match, excuse me. There you go, Mark. You're
passing it along. Good.
Passing it along here. This was, to me, a typical intro match, typical first match, kind of get the crowd going. Nothing real spectacular, but definitely not bad. Showcase the talent. I liked it as a good intro match. I didn't have a problem with it at all.
Yeah, I agree. Great match to start off with. It got everybody pumped up. Like, I didn't know much about Killer Kyle as well, but the fans did, so it kind of, that's what got them going. You know, Furnace was the established guy, clearly in the ring at this point, but moving along, we have, in between every match and the next match, you have the back-to-back promos. That's where it gets a little bit long-winded for me. I don't need to see a promo because this next promo is the one that, it was the first one, but I'm like, what the hell are they saying? Orton and Slater promo, okay, they're going to beat the shit out of Ronnie Garvin and the Stomper, but then you transition into Ronnie Garvin and the Stompers promo, they didn't know where the hell they were. That was unbelievable. We're going to fight. I think we're going to fight. Are we going to fight each other? We're going to fight. We're going to go fight. They just turned the camera off of them, which was probably a better thing. It was horrible. So now you have. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now, we met Ronnie Garvin. Super nice guy. Really a nice guy. Lost a lot of weight. He's in great shape, later in life now. But, man, his promos were tough to watch back in the day, and especially when he's not in the NWA or WWF anymore. You know, it's something where he's got to do a lot more explaining than necessary because the machine isn't behind him as much. He doesn't have the tools to carry a promo like that. It was cool to see Orton and Slater reunited about 11 or 12 years after they broke Ric Flair's neck. They didn't allude to that, obviously, but just their promo together reminded me of two old friends who hadn't seen each other in a while and were happy to see each other again. They just were two old ass-kicking buddies, and they were happy to be together again.
Yeah, I agree with everything. Yeah, the interview with the Stomper and that, it was I was laughing. I mean, it was painful to watch, but I was laughing at it. Orton and Slater just brought back memories of, the dastardly stuff that both of them used to do. And it actually made me want to see this match a little bit more.
Yeah. The announcing in this match got a little, this match is probably the roughest for me. Jim Ross and Thatcher said about 50 times in this match that Orton and Slater were a team. They're a team. The Stomper and Garvin are enemies. How are they on the same team? 2 seconds later, do you know the Stomper and Garvin, they had 9,000 matches yesterday. Orton and Slater are a great team. The Stomper doesn't trust Garvin. They've never been in the same corner. Okay, we get it. It was overselling a little bit. Bit.
The match was pretty good. It seems like they said, we're going to go for, the easiest thing. You know what I mean? Corner one good guy, beat the crap out of him. Ref doesn't see the tag. Ref sees the tag. Bad guys switch with no tags. And it's all fun. And it's a formula that's worked for 40 years. But they didn't do much more than that.
Yeah, it was just a typical formula tag team match, like you said, isolating a good guy, the missed tag, then finally getting a tag. I kind of had the feeling the whole time that it was going to end up like it did, a double DQ or double count out.
Yeah, I did too. Once the hot tag came and Stomper took off his boot, I thought for the first 30 seconds after that the Stomper got disqualified, making him and Garvin lose, thus setting a matchup maybe down the line one more time for these guys just to extend that storyline. But I didn't really see what Orton and Slater did. Was it just that all hell broke loose that they got disqualified
Exact same thought. Mark,
yeah.
Exact same thought. DQ'd. Hey, I trusted you to be my partner, and you made us lose. We're going to fight again. That seemed like the obvious route, but they didn't take the obvious route. I don't know what caused a double DQ.
So, fun nonetheless.
Yeah.
Chad, if this is why you wanted us to watch it, the Gangsta's interview was rough. And I know you're gonna bring this up. It's a different era, and holy cripes, I was almost cringeworthy if a child would have walked in with what New Jack was saying. Holy shit.
Yeah, this interview, I had seen this before. I got the copy from Jim Cornette's store and had seen this, and I was like, holy shit, I'm surprised somebody didn't shoot his ass right there in the ring. And what was bad about this, and Cornette even said, and he's a hell of a one to talk at times, this was unscripted. This was a New Jack. He was given the direction, get racial heat, get heat, and that was it. Holy crap, did he do it. You'd pull something like that today, he'd be jailed before he got out of the damn ring.
Yeah.
I want to say it was bad, but it was a sign of the times. Back then, could get away with a lot of that stuff.
I like Too Cold Scorpio's new look in this because, looking back, rumor has it Scorpio's a bit of a badass. Wouldn't back down from anybody. Had an altercation. I can't remember with whom. I want to say Vader, but I don't know if that's true. Who outweighed him by 200 pounds, but he didn't back off. So I like this look for Scorpio. The whole thing was like Nation of Domination, but without the Disney-ness surrounding it, if I can even use that term. This was just raw, and unless I misheard, and I rewinded this and listened a couple of times, did New Jack drop an N-bomb in this?
Couple.
Did I thought so. I'm like, am I hearing this correctly?
A couple. Yeah. And that's where I'm like, oh my gosh.
And Jim Ross looked, which he's supposed to. He's looking uncomfortable, but man, he really looked uncomfortable.
Yeah, he did. And
a little too much.
It sets up the tail end of this sets up that they're challenging the Rock and Roll Express at sometimes because they might beat them in a wrestling match, but they'll never beat them in a brawl. And kind of now looking at it gives away what happens in the next match. The next match is Candido and Brian Lee taking on the Rock and Roll Express. And outside the ring, Tammy will be handcuffed to Ricky Gibson. Not the Ricky Gibson I just had on the podcast a couple weeks ago, but Robert's brother, Ricky. Because that Ricky Gibson might have been 4, I think. And that would have been weird. But nonetheless, that's what happens. I've always been, you guys both know, I've always loved Candido. I really went to him when he was with Shane Douglas, and they were part of the Triple Threat, him and Bam Bam and Shane. That's where I love Candido. Not being a body Donna. He did his stick when he was body Donna, but Candido's always been one of my favorites. He's up there. Yeah, maybe top 15 or so.
What did anybody ever see in Tammy as a performer in the wrestling business?
It's probably what you saw. You saw backstage is where she wanted it.
I guess.
I guess. But that whole promo, I don't know, enunciate. I gotta, what did he's such a pain. Oh, God. She's so annoying. I don't know. That's about it. And the other thing is that was The Undertaker. That was fake Undertaker. That was the $1 Million Man's Undertaker that went against Paul Bearer's Undertaker.
Yeah.
At SummerSlam.
It was.
Yep.
The match, we'll just spoil it real quick, and Chad can talk about the match if he wants to. Rock and Roll Express, new tag team champions. For Smoky Mountain, it must have been the 500th time that they were tag team champions down there, because anytime they had a transition, they brought the Rock and Roll Express in, boom, gave them the titles, they got a little bit of a stroke for a while, and then you got the bad team, the Gangstas, come in and destroy them. Rock and Roll Express go away again. Need somebody to transition again? Oh, bring them back. I mean, they literally had the Smoky Mountain Tag Team Championships multiple times.
Yeah, this match, as far as Sunny, what did they see in her? Looking at her, that's what she was there. She was eye candy. She was like slutty eye candy. She wasn't like Elizabeth eye candy. She was slutty eye candy. And Chris Candido, one of the most underrated performers ever, I think, in wrestling. It's a shame that his career went the way it did and that he passed away at such a young age, but very, very brilliant wrestler. Like Mark said, the Rock and Roll Express were the, go-to. They were the ones that could help build these heel teams. It sucks that there wasn't more babyface teams in there to do it, but they just brought them in, used them, got the heel teams up and going. That's what they were there for.
Yeah, they did their job. They did your job, and it was a normal Rock and Roll Express match. There was nothing extravagance about this match. It was just a normal Rock and Roll Express match. We're going to wrestle like this. We're going to get this win. So it was a good match. Nothing more, nothing less.
It was still very good.
Yeah.
They're so good. That's why we saw them in 2015, and they were great. We've seen them on AEW and NWA now. They're clearly not what they were 40 years ago. They're still so good. That's why you can bring them back any time and put belts on them, and it's believable because they're so good. They may be the, as far as in-ring work, the very best team there's ever been. They're incredible.
Chad and I have been telling you that for about 2 years now, John.
Yeah.
We really have.
Yeah, they are pretty damn good.
Chad, this next part is where you lost me. And
if it's the awards thing, just skip it.
Well, it was before the awards thing. I got a history lesson on Knoxville and how Henry Knox, it was unbelievable. And then they did the awards thing. I wish they would have made this, and it was, maybe they did on your DVD or whatever, but on YouTube it was 3.5 hours. So I'm like, at this point, if Chad wants to cover it, he can say whatever he wants to about this Hall of Fame. I'm fast forwarding through it because I don't care. It was just so long-winded.
Yeah, it was way too long. The brilliance of the DVD was I could click through segment by segment. I lasted about 10 minutes into it just to see what it was when I originally watched it. But it was them trying to pay respect to the greats of the area. And I'll just leave it at that. It did go way too long, but it was them trying to pay respects to the heritage and the greatness of the area.
And then I have one more beef coming up as well. But we'll get there. The next matchup on the docket is Cornette and the Heavenly Bodies. You're going to take on the Thrill Seekers, and that's Jericho and Storm. Another long setup for this, but I'll excuse that because the match was brilliant. I love this match. My favorite of the card.
I loved the shit out of this match. I love the Heavenly Bodies. They are a Cornette-style team, you know, in that they remind me of Eaton and Lane, but not really. They are their own thing. Heavenly Bodies and Midnight Express are two very different teams, but they kind of have similar styles, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I've always enjoyed the Heavenly Bodies when I saw them in the WWF when Smoky Mountain was working with the WWF. This match made me want to go see more of their matches. I didn't know I was talking to the Doctor of Desire when Mark and I went to Night of Legends, NWA type thing with Big Time Wrestling. I just saw Jim Cornette was there, and I went to look at some of the Midnight Express merchandise, and 5 beers in, I loudly declared, Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane are the greatest team across any promotion in any era. And this guy taking notes looks up and he says, I agree. And then it dawned on me, holy shit, that's the Doctor of Desire. So I was like, the Doctor of Desire! I thought maybe he'd be offended that, geez, you know, this guy was part of a pretty good team too. And here I'm declaring this other team's the greatest. But he agreed. He's like, no, they were great. So I just once again said, the Doctor of Desire, as if maybe he didn't know that that's who he was. And he's like, so can I interest you in anything? And I said, do you have anything with Eaton and Lane? And he goes, how about this picture? I said, done. And it was $10, and everybody signed it. Cornette signed it. Lane wasn't there. Eaton signed it. And Pritchard signed it for $10, and then I bought Cornette's book for $20.
This is a true story, but John was not that quiet. When he found out that it was a Dr. Desire, we are literally, from me to the mic away, inches. He turns to my ear like I didn't just hear the whole conversation and screams in it like he is getting killed by Jinder Mahal. This unbelievable scream in my ear. I'm like, I know. Thanks, I know. And he just, 5 beers deep, though. John is the lightweight.
I had the time of my life, you guys. I loved the South. I loved it. You buy a beer, the lady sells it to you, and she says, y'all have a good time tonight. I loved it. Everybody was friendly. Such an enjoyable time. Cornette signed my book, explained how he saved all the tapes, which everybody knows now. The guy's a hoarder. But he explained how he saved all the tapes, told me how he went out to the dumpster and pulled everything out. And I yelled, I love you, Jimmy. And he's like, because I'm a super genius. And I said, yep. And then in the ring, he said something about all of us having cheap liquor and beer on our breath. And I'm like, motherfucker, you told me you loved me and we were friends. And anyway, this match told a brilliant story. Jericho came in with an arm injury. So Storm had to go it alone. Eventually, Jericho tags in, only has one arm to use in this match, takes a beating, gets busted up. For me, the only thing I hated was I thought the end was shit. The ref stopped the fight, justifiably so. The guy's got one arm and he's a bloody pulp. I don't want to quit. Rolls him up, gets the 3. It reminded me of when Owen broke Austin's neck, but Austin was supposed to win, so they didn't know what to do. So, and even Owen has said, like, my 3-year-old daughter at the time could have done a better roll up than what Austin did. I hated this restart of the match. I'm a big Jericho fan, but I hated the ending.
I agree. I'll say that. Yes, on everything John just said, I hated the end. Chad, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, same thing. It was a great match. Jimmy Del Rey and Tom Pritchard, just so good at what they did. So good at the storytelling and being pricks and everything. The Jericho bloodiness. Cornette's gone on record, and a lot of other guys, even Jericho, saying that was the most blood they've ever seen in a match live, and they were genuinely getting worried about him, but he wasn't going to quit. They were wondering if the athletic commission was going to stop the frickin' match, type deal. And again, the ending was kind of crappy, but kind of expected a little something like that with the way they played the whole Jericho angle. But still a great match. Great match.
Next up, we have the Dirty White Boy against Terry Gordy, and let me start here first. This is where I have to get back on my boy Mark Curtis. We've seen where rings have not been changed because, you know, they don't have time in between matches to roll the blood out or whatever. He could have changed his shirt. He could have changed anything he had on. He had Chris Jericho's face embedded into him, and there was more blood on him than they get at blood drive sometimes. My God, go change your shirt. In the 5 minutes in between a match, or there was another ref there. Why did Curtis then, after the intermission of whatever, the Hall of Fame, why didn't the other ref come back out? Did he just get thrown out and say, screw you, we're just going to keep bloody Mark Curtis out here the whole time? Is it something to bitch about? No, I just wanted to bring it up in case you guys missed it, that he was just full of blood the rest of the night.
That was, it was nasty. I kind of wondered remember thinking that the first time that I watched it, why the hell didn't he change it? And I was like, why the hell are they doing a lot of the stuff they're doing on this?
Right.
It seemed like a lot of shock value and carrying over from match to match.
That's exactly it. Yep, that's what I was going to say is it was intentional. It was intentional. Keep that shirt on. Remind the fans how bloody the previous match was.
What did you guys think of this match?
Weakest on the card. And I love Terry Gordy. This was the weakest match.
Yeah, I'll have to agree. This was a big guy match. That's all you can really say about it. Didn't see a title change in hands. This was just a big guy throw around punch match and to get the Smoky Mountain title on the card.
Yeah, I've seen some Dirty White Boy matches before. Nothing is really stand out with him. Terry Gordy was the reason for this match, and I agree. White Boy wins by DQ, and that's it. This next part, Chad, this is how pissed I am. I'm calling you Pat. This next build-up for the next match is legitimately an hour long. It starts because somebody stepped on somebody's toe. I'm going to get somebody to fight for me. No, I'm going to get somebody to fight for me. I'm going to go to the deepest darks of hell to get this person. And they showed this. After I started watching it, of course I got pissed off. So I'm like, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to rewind it to the beginning. Okay, we rewound it to the beginning, and it was at like 2 hours and 16 minutes. Okay, awesome. Fast forward to when they actually start fighting the match. 3 hours and 16 minutes is when they started. The card was 3.5 hours long. So you put 2 and 2 together that this match only lasted 14 minutes, but they've had 7 years build up for this match. Hi, Vinny. And it ended up being Team Armstrong against Team Cornette, and I just don't think the build-up was worth it.
Literally, it may have been 7 years. They went year by year by year, and it just was, like you said, Bob Armstrong said, I'm bringing in this guy. Jim Cornette said, I'm bringing in this guy. And it just went on and on and on. And in the end, we get the Funks and, what's his name, Bruiser Bedlam.
Yep.
Versus Smothers, Armstrong, and Road Warrior Hawk.
Yeah, the build-up was cringeworthy. It was a step below the never-ending story, a.k.a. Orton Edge match. It was too long. They could have just, run through it in maybe 10 minutes or whatever. Just way too long. I think it took away from the match.
Yeah.
Honest to God, one other quick thing, Mark. It took so long, and they showed so many clips of matches that when it got to the main event, I was unsure if that was part of the card we were watching
or if it was still build-up. Honest to God, I was like, oh, wait, no, this is the main event. I was unsure at first.
I have notes. The longest match of the night, and I'm rounding. I didn't bring seconds to this. The longest match of the night was a Jericho match of 16 minutes, okay? That's the longest match of the night. You add up all the matches, and they were about 70 minutes. 70 minutes. So there was 140 minutes of backlog, Hall of Fames, this, that, and the other thing. If you would have taken the 3.5 hours and divided by the 6 matches that there were, each match would have been 35 minutes long. Some people would have never gone 30. Team Armstrong against Team Cornette could not have gone 35 minutes. No disrespect to them. It was just, I wish I found your copy, Chad, to be able to skip through stuff, because I was watching it all on YouTube, and I just got annoyed. I'm like, good Lord, Chad's not allowed picking another one for about a month. No, I don't. All in all, though, the matches were great. I give it, I'll go first. I'll give it, wasn't the greatest, it wasn't the worst I've seen. The worst I've seen will probably never, it gets brought up a lot in Johnsonburg. But I have to give this about 3.5. Just because some of the names on it and some of the stuff that happened, for me, it's about 3.5 beers out of 6.
Yeah, I give it three beers out of 6 for all the same reasons.
I took, and I guess it's because I'm more of a Cornette fan, and what he tried to do with Smoky Mountain, as hard as it was, eliminating the crap, the overly long interviews and segments and stuff. If I went just by the matches, I got to give it a 4 beers, because there was no absolutely horrible match. There was one bad match on the card, the Gordy match, but I enjoyed this card because this just brought me back to the 80s way of doing things.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about it.
So
a couple of things Mark, I just want to throw out there. I made notes about things. The crowd reactions throughout all the matches were freaking great.
Oh, I agree.
You knew who your heels were. You knew who your good guys were. Crowd reactions were great. Absolutely love seeing Bob Caudle. Shows why he was such a good announcer in the back. I think Bob Caudle and Jim Ross might have been a better commentary team than Thatcher, but they had Thatcher in there because of his history with the area and that. And last but not least on this one, the funniest one, and I can't believe either one of you two didn't get this, the interview with the Thrill Seekers in Cornette in the birthday cake. Do you remember what made this so famous?
No.
No clue? When they slammed his face into it, it was a 1-layer sheet cake. When they slammed his face into it, they broke his glasses and nose, and he was bleeding all over the place.
Because the cake was so thin, he actually bounced off the table.
God.
Yes. This was the one that he's talked about before. This was when he got his beak busted and was legitimately spewing all over the place.
Okay. I do remember you bringing it up now and him saying it. Yes. Yes.
They also showed Night of the Skywalkers during the card, Mark, which you love. But it's
do.
also where Cornette blew out his knee, which I'm surprised. They were working with WWF, but they were showing but they were showing stuff from NWA, WCW. There was a connection there, obviously, with Jim Ross and Bob Caudle. It was an interesting take on what works where, because this crowd in Knoxville loved this card.
That's a great point, John. Yeah, what works where? Like we said, we didn't hate it. We didn't. I mean, it was just there was just some things that I got hell bent on, but the crowd went nuts. All right. So that's our segment for, stuff in the past. Next week we're kind of on a halt with that as we're going to bring in our women's tournament, and I'll be drawing the names. These two idiots will be giving us some type of, background on the women. We can do it that way. I'll take care of the bracket stuff. You guys give us the insight on what you think the matches are going to go of the first round. And what's it called again, John?
The Revolutionary Force, Can Crushers Revolutionary Force tournament.
So that'll be our next week long segment, and then we'll reconvene with the old pay-per-views again in 2 weeks. Sound like a deal?
Absolutely.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna hear from our Can Crushers Spotlight guy that already pre-recorded, ready for Wednesday. And then we'll come back and talk WWE in general. Raw, SmackDown, a little bit of NXT, and, of course, tonight's pay-per-view, Money in the Bank. What is it going to be about?
Listen here, this is Daredevil Dave Dahl, and I got one thing to say. Retromania, you better put me in because I'm on Can Crushers podcast right now promoting your game like every other thing I'm on. So you put me in the game, you make money, and I get some more fame. Listen to Can Crushers podcast because I told you so. And if you don't, well, there's a price to pay, and it's going to be your ass.
It is I, the English professor from the County of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen. I'm with your host, Mark Martinez, and Chad, the Guru Piranha, and we're going to discuss a little bit of WWE, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and tonight's pay-per-view, Money in the Bank. Take it away, boss.
Yeah, so we're going to bounce because Raw was probably the worst, and by numbers, I think somebody brought it up, it was the worst take-home show in history, right?
The worst Raw in history.
There you go. So we know that Apollo Crews is out of the match, and we need to get somebody into the match for Money in the Bank tonight. I think only the people that were qualifiers before should be in said match, have it be a battle royal or a gauntlet. I'm all right with a gauntlet. But you have Bobby Lashley starting it off against Titus. Why the hell does Titus get the opportunity? You have Bob destroying him, then Tozawa comes out. Great. This is going to be awesome. Shelton Benjamin, welcome back to Raw after 6 months being off again. And then Bob gets disqualified against John's favorite, Humberto. Humberto beats Garza. Humberto gets the win against Austin Theory. And all this brings us to is a subdued return of AJ Styles. This was horrible. Good. AJ's in it. Good. He'll do great things in this match. Bring him back another way. Just say, you know what? He called and he said he wants to be in the match. He's an old champion. Cool. We'll put him in the match. This was garbage.
Yeah, it really was. I get they're trying to maybe build up, Bobby Lashley. What the hell's his name? Bobby Lashley by having him steamroll some guys, and then the only reason he loses is because of a DQ. But it was never believable. It was never believable, any of his wins. You know, the way he just squashed these guys. They didn't even put up a fight. I don't buy him as that kind of a monster. I would like to have seen him challenge just a little bit and still find a way to win. You know, you think of the WWE, and whether we love it or hate it, it's been good, it's been bad. These have to be the best of the best performers. I don't get how Humberto Carrillo is on this roster. I'm sorry, I just don't get it. He is handing his body parts to his opponent so they may perform the moves on him. I get it. It's not easy, guys. Our big, dumb, fat asses can never do what these guys do. But he doesn't make any of it look believable for me. He seems nervous. He seems to go through the motions. You know, you have performances where people are feeling the part, and you have performances where people memorize their lines and are just saying them. He just reminds me of someone who says their lines, goes out there, says their lines, and then leaves the stage. I don't know how this guy is on this roster.
Yeah, I got nothing on him. I hate to say this because I've seen some good matches. but to me, it's the typical lucha libre style of constant spots, constant flipping, waiting for your opponent and stuff like that. It's just, it doesn't gel, and his character doesn't help it. As far as Mr. Bobby Lashley, you can't invest in him. He's been beat by little guys. And you're going to tell me he's this big monster now? Hell, just bring out Rey Mysterio's son to beat him in 7 seconds or something.
Yep. Next point I want to bring up about Raw, and Charlotte comes out talking about EO, and out comes Liv and pretty much says, let's do this. I like this. I like Liv and Charlotte. So I'll give John that, because Charlotte, yeah. Listen, though. Charlotte, you chose NXT. You don't need to be on all 3 shows. Keep your ass at NXT where you chose. Don't come up here, because as much as some may need you, and I love that there could be a feud down the line between Liv and Charlotte. The match was great. Probably the best thing for me on the show was this match. But listen, I don't want Charlotte on every freaking show. And if that happens, it's going to bring it down.
I agree. There's no reason for me to have the NXT Women's Champion on Monday Night Raw. That being said, Mark, you said it yourself, on a show that, to quote Ole Anderson, was the shits. That was the best spot on the show. The last 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever they utilized was the very best part of this show. And the reason was, guys, is because it's art. And what does art need? It needs conflict. You have Liv Morgan saying, you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. I fought for everything I had. And the viewer at home is thinking, yeah, that's right. You did fight for everything you have. And then you have Charlotte saying, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and I made the most of what I have, and I don't apologize. And then you're thinking, yeah, you're right. She shouldn't have to apologize. It creates conflict, and then they settle it right there on the spot. Well done. Well done all around. Might have been a little too long, but I'm not going to complain on a show that was absolute garbage to have this little segment that was somewhat good. And then the match, you've got the much more powerful Charlotte pushing her around, and you've got Liv, who's just tenacious, doesn't quit. Good submission holes in this match. Enjoyable. All around enjoyable. Easily the best part of what was just otherwise garbage.
Yeah, there's not much more I can say than what you guys said about it. It was a good match, everything, story. To tag on what you said about, both said about Charlotte being on all 3 shows, this is what I want to say soured Charlotte with a lot of the fans and stuff, is being overly featured before. They're doing the same damn thing again. You know, all due respect, she's a great wrestler and everything, but in chunks. I don't want to see her all the time. That ruins it. That ruins it for any wrestler to have them on every single week, multiple times, everything like that.
And at the end, we get a Drew and Buddy Murphy match. It just sets up for tonight's, pay-per-view. Nothing more to be said about that. Let's transition over to NXT briefly. I just want to bring up that Adam Cole defends his title against the Velveteen Dream. Not sure if NXT has been taped or not. I've been lacking on NXT, if you guys haven't noticed. A lot coming up recently on Velveteen Dream. So I was kind of shocked that if this match was live, that he got the stroke right then and there. I know you're innocent until proven guilty. You guys can go out and read everything about what's going on with Velveteen Dream. I just didn't know if that was the right way that the WWE to handle this, if this wasn't, pre-taped or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was or not. I don't, but That's a great point. I was surprised that he was on prominently featured, not just featured at all, but really prominently featured on this show.
You know, guys, I'm going to have to disagree with you on this. I think if this, and again, the taping, I don't know, but to me, this would be Vince McMahon's way, and Vince in this situation would have some stroke, obviously, to kind of embarrass, put down the purple pedophile and do what he did and have him get beat. And again, I'm making a joke about Velveteen Dream. I don't think he's anything special, but there's a lot of guys that, you know, get pushed that aren't. I would have seriously, even without the accusations and stuff being out there, I would seriously have been pissed beyond belief if Adam Cole lost the title to him. He's not in Cole's league. He's not even close to it.
I'll agree with that. I like him a lot. The guy oozes charisma. He's fun to watch. His promos are fun. I think he's very good in the ring. I don't think he's your flagship, though.
Right, I agree with that. All right, switching over to SmackDown. These two aren't going to add much because they didn't watch it. I don't have much to add, but I hope the Mandy-Sonya feud isn't over. The match they had was the best of the night. It really was. It was the very first thing on SmackDown. You know, back and forth, emotional match. You know, Sonya gets the sneak up with the Titans win. These two are friends. You can tell they work together. These two could have some great chemistry. I hope it's not over like that. Well, the heel won, so, you know, the face is going to call for a rematch or something, but let's just hope. Other than that, really, Braun and Bray were there. The legit badasses lost to Tamina and Lacey. The truth is coming, whoever the truth is, and let's transition into some breaking news a little bit now. I posted something earlier this week that the truth may be CM Punk, and that has been squashed since. But do we see CM Punk making a return?
Has it been squashed? Really? I mean, they can say, and he can say whatever he wants to know, and I'm sick of these conspiracy theories, blah, 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 everything like that. It's just like the Edge coming back in Royal Rumble thing. Edge said the same thing. No, there's no contracts. I know I'm not coming back. Blah, blah, blah. I think it could be Punk. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be something stupid that McMahon pulls out of his 80-year-old ass and throws on there. It's going to be like Hornswoggle being the mystery GM or whatever the hell he was.
Jesus, you get some bad stuff. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, you never say never in the wrestling business. How many feuds has Vince McMahon had and people have come back? So it needs to be big. I mean, they're desperate for something big. It better not be this rumor I read where it's Vince McMahon. God, I hope that's not the case. But for their sake, it better be big. I think fans will tune in because they want to know. But if you disappoint the fans, you'll see, in my opinion, you'll see ratings tank even deeper than they have already.
All right, Chad, you have a few things. Before we'll end with the Money in the Bank, like we'll bring up 4 matches. That's it on Money in the Bank. But what else do you have to bring to the table today? I know you have a couple things that you want to bitch about.
On NXT, the debut of Killer Cross. And I'm sorry, I forget the lady's name that they've had him paired with. She is a star in the making.
Her name's Scarlett Bordeaux. Yeah.
Scarlett. She can be a big time star. But the thing I want to bitch about is their name change. Karrion Kross. Karrion is the crap that's on the side of the road, dead animals. Why the hell are you going to name a wrestler Karrion Kross?
Because they can't say killer. They couldn't say War Raiders, so how the hell do you think they're going to say killer?
But come on, it was just bad. Have something better than carrying. That's just horrible. And
is it a play on words before you go on? Is it like carrying across?
No, it's actually they just changed it because of what Mark said. They won't say killer on the air.
Okay.
And then the other thing, the fine that AEW got because some little narc bitch complained about the Moxley Omega match from a couple of months ago.
Yeah, it was taking place in Baltimore. It was probably the Rated X Can Crusher, Pat Lupino, probably called it in and said something. He's a bitch like that. But, yeah, they got fined $10,000 because of blood?
Because of the type of match. But if you look I looked at the documentation that you can find online, and they cited the use of a bat wrapped in barbed wire and being drug across a person multiple times, and the rigged mattress of barbed wire.
Keep talking to me because I need to look something up.
Is that where like somebody was like in a Boston crab or sharpshooter or something? They had to drag themselves across the thumbtacks to make it to the ropes for the break.
That was another part of it.
Yeah.
It was just, and it comes. Some Christie guy did this, and he's just I guess another wannabe that never made it in the business.
No clue. I was looking something up that not referenceable right now because I make him look like an idiot. So never mind.
Oh, go ahead, Mark. We always enjoy that.
No, I thought CZW ran out of Maryland, and CZW is like the blood sport wrestling and this, that, and the other thing. I thought they run out of Maryland, and if they're going to let CZW run out of Maryland, that little bit of what happened during the match, is nonsense because CZW you can use a machete and a grenade to get a sunset flip victory sometimes. They just go overboard at CZW is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not that it's a lot of money or anything. It's just the way that it all came down. A bitch and moan by somebody. So, one complaint about it, other than, okay, it wasn't a great match or anything like that people bitched about. But one complaint about it, and they fined him. Okay, $10,000. Tony Khan probably had that in his little mini pocket inside the front pocket of his jeans or whatever he was wearing.
That's a big little pocket.
It's just, I don't know. I just thought it was a crappy situation. It reminded me of that little bitch on the dark side of the ring last week that got people, or that dimed out the wrestling business, and that is what it reminded me of.
All right, let's wrap this up with our Money in the Bank kind of predictions. We're going to go with 4 matches, and we found out Monday that the men's and women's match are going to take place at the same time for the Money in the Bank. And then we have the Braun Strowman against Bray Wyatt match, and then Drew McIntyre against Seth. So let's go reverse order what I just did. Let's go Drew and Seth. Pick a winner.
Gotcha.
I think this is a given. I think Drew. They're going to try to make it a good match, and give Drew a little bit of cement to his title reign in that at the beginning. But I think this is, if they do anything but Drew winning that would be stupid.
I agree. Yeah, I think Drew defends.
I do too. You're saying the Big Show match right after WrestleMania didn't cement his legacy?
Not for me.
No, not close.
Braun Strowman against Bray Wyatt for the Universal title. Where are we going?
This,
this is probably the most interesting match of the night for me because of the history they have. I like the little nod to their previous teaming up, but I think it's another title defense. Successful title defense.
I'm going to disagree. I think that Bray is going to take the title back. And I think it's going to go back to the BS that Goldberg pulled to get the title, or not necessarily to get the title, but to win the match, which obviously get the title in Saudi. I think that they're going to put it back on Bray, that part. And Vince McMahon has never been big on Braun Strowman with titles. I see Bray Wyatt taking the title back.
I do too, Chad. I'll agree with you there. Braun Strowman's a giant. You're gonna give me Braun Strowman against Drew Gulak? Not believable. You're gonna give me Braun Strowman against whomever. This way, Bray is a little bit smaller. Goldberg used his power at Saudi to get it. This is kind of a reset. If you notice the post I posted on Facebook, Roman kind of is not being erased from stuff, but he's just taking some time off, and he's just got 2 new kids, da-da-da-da-da. His health, he doesn't mention it, but come on, we know it, the health thing. Bray can run with it for a while. When it's time to get Roman the title again, he makes this big return. Everybody's going to be excited against this, God forbid, villain that's eating everybody, eating the world, and not against Braun again. So it's going to be, I think this is where Bray gets it back.
That's a great point, and that was a good job using whomever because it was the object of a preposition. So well done, Mark.
Next up, we have the men's and women's ladder matches that are going to take place at the same time. If you're a wrestling fan, you have read that there's going to be a monumental spot on this card. They're not having it up on the roof for no apparent reason. We're not going to see a beach ball fall. Somebody is going to be eliminated just to make a great return in 2 months. Who wins the matches? Let's start with the men's first.
Mark, again, refresh real quick, who is in the match?
You have AJ Styles. You have, my God, I thought you guys would know this. I don't even know him offhand. So banter amongst yourselves while I pull up the card. This is horrible.
I think AJ's going to win the match. I don't think there's anybody more that they could put in that spot that could, make it interesting. So I think it's going to be him in the match, winning the match. And I want to say this too. In one of these matches, most likely the men, somebody's going over the side of the building.
All right, we have AJ, we have Rey Mysterio, you have Aleister Black, you have Corbin, you have Otis, and then you have Daniel Bryan.
I still think it's going to be AJ. And somebody's going over the side of that building. It's going to be Otis. He's going to be thrown off that building.
I only hope.
I was about to say we can only hope. I would agree. AJ had a good match with The Undertaker. He got buried. He resurrected. He's probably the biggest name in this match, I think it's fair to say.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to say it's going to go on somebody up and coming. I think you can build on Aleister Black with this. They don't have to cash in tonight, for the love of God. They don't have to cash in for a couple months. You have it till next WrestleMania. Aleister Black. I would only hope Aleister Black. For the women, it is Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke, Baszler, Tamina, Asuka, and Carmella.
I'll go first. I'm pulling for the Sassy Southern Belle, but I think Shayna Baszler wins. It's her time.
Yeah, that is my exact thinking. I'd like to see Lacey Evans get it, but I think setting up probably Baszler and Becky Lynch rematch, maybe a last woman standing or something like that down the road. One thing I want to throw in with the male match, Mark, you made a comment they don't have to cash it in tonight. What if AJ wins this and AJ takes the title from Braun Strowman after a beatdown match with Bray Wyatt?
I'm all right with that.
I would be okay with that. I know you think someone up and coming deserves a shot, Mark. This is where they go to the sure thing. They need a sure thing. They need ratings. They need to bring fans back. AJ Styles has been around a long time. Good worker, good promo, reliable. I don't think this is a time for an up-and-comer.
Okay. All right. I second or third what you guys said. I think this is Baszler's match to lose, without a doubt. Do I want to see her with it? No, but it's going to happen. And I bet you like the women's is soon. Like the lead. Oh well, they're not. They're both going to be taking place at the same time. So never mind. I didn't
understand that. I don't know what to expect. I really have no idea what to expect.
So it'll be on. All right, guys. Do we have anything else to wrap up, or do you just want me to wrap it up?
Go ahead, take it away.
Just an interesting little factoid from those two websites that I've been pushing here the last few weeks that are so interesting. Listeners, you may know that back in the day, if a title change wasn't televised, the champion carried the belt until it was televised. So you may know that Tito Santana lost to the Macho Man, but carried the belt for another 2 to 3 weeks until they showed the highlights on TV. I didn't know this. What you may not know is that heel and face turns work the same way. So they taped Paul Orndorff turning on Hulk Hogan, but until it aired, Orndorff was a babyface for about another close to a month at house shows. Blows my mind, kind of ruins things for me. Mark, can you imagine you and I back in the day if we were adults?
We were never adults.
We were never adults if we were old enough to drive. Now, you and I, Mark, have been to shows within close time frames of one another. And it's like, no disrespect, it's like going to see a play. You see it in New York and then maybe you see it in Pittsburgh. It's the same show. We've seen the matches where they work the same style of match and you appreciate it anyway. But now imagine if back in the day when we believe what we're seeing and we did that.
We'd be pissed. We'd be pissed.
Yeah, or if we were there and saw Paul Orndorff turn and then like, oh, let's get in the car and go to the next show. And he's like, wait, what? And he's teaming up with Junkyard Dog again. It was risky. It was risky when you're trying to protect the business and you're doing stuff that, you know.
But this wasn't out there. We couldn't get on our high horse on our soapbox and come in and say the next day, we saw Paul Orndorff turn. And next week in Montgomery, Alabama, he's still Mr. Wonderful. Yeah.
Right.
Or, yeah, so. And you couldn't.
Yeah, you didn't. I'm sorry. You didn't have the social media outlets. One, cell phones non-existent. So there's another thing. And a lot of these, the title changes and stuff like that, it was done by phone or telegraph in code in that, which, nobody knew what. You get all this mumble jumble. Some guys sending, what the hell is all this stuff? It gets to the promoter. Oh, okay, Ric Flair's going to go against Barry Windham tonight because Ronnie Garvin's hurt or whatever. It just didn't have the exposure, so they played it very, very smartly back then. Now, there's no way in hell they could get away with it.
Right.
And that's where wrestling has lost its step, is because of where the exposure was great to a point. It's bad because you can't get away with the crap that you used to get away with. People are relegated to house shows are going to be house shows. They're going to be good matches. You might get a title change or a ghost title change or something like that. but that's all you're going to get in house shows.
Yeah, I was going to say you couldn't get it to PWI fast enough because they were always 3 or 4 months behind anyway. So it would make its way to PWI before you could mail anything there as well, is what I was going to say.
But that's why we got sick of the torch back in the day, Mark.
Yeah.
The torch was just, here's everything that's going to happen. Well, where's the fun in that, you know?
Yeah.
Or if you were like Mark running up a $700 1-900 number.
On that note, guys, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. It's all CanCrusher69. Keep sending those messages, emails in at cancrusher69@gmail.com. We're getting set up for, in a couple of weeks, we'll do, probably a month yet, we'll do our next Ask Can Crushers. Go to our website that hasn't done anything in about 3 weeks because we're not going anywhere. We have nothing to promote except our lovely faces. But you can listen to all our shows from there. It's cancrusher69.wixsite.com/cancrushers. You're there. It's linked to everything that we have. Guys, great show. I had fun with the cover in the Smoky Mountain. Next week we'll do the Revolutionary Tournament, and I'm going to give you guys one more shot. Can you bring it home correctly?
I have this.
John's spot on. Don't put me on the spot like this.
All right. John and I will do it. Practice for next week, Chad. Ready? All right. He gives me the thumbs up. Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.